I would request, I'll just introduce my today's expert. Our expert is Ms. Saida Tasneem. She's a clinical psychologist having a rich experience in clinical psychology, hypnotherapist, and she is practicing in this industry since almost now 10 years. And she is taking many webinar sessions, personal counseling on stress management, work-life balance, parenting, and many more topics about stress. So today we all are into pandemic condition. So I think psychologists can help us better how we can manage our stress, how we can manage our work-life balance, and how exactly we can manage our mental health in this work from home situation. So I request you, Tasneem, to go ahead with the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shweta. So coming to the session, see, since we are going through a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of other, not just mental health issues, there are a lot of physiological issues as well, right? Our lifestyle itself has changed a lot. So that's the reason we thought of coming up with something that is related to your work-life balance, especially during a pandemic like this. Because this probably in many of our lives has happened for the first time, right? We've never faced a situation like this where there has been a complete lockdown. We've been working from home, and of course, working from home has been a boon since a very long time. People have been wanting to work from home for a long time. Like it would have been win-win situation at other times when your boss would just say, okay, you can work from home today. But now currently in this situation, work from home is not a boon anymore, right? Everybody is waiting to go out and meet people and work from there, because there are a lot of challenges that you actually face while working from home as well. We'll discuss some of these challenges. We'll discuss how to overcome these challenges, ways to overcome these challenges as well. So to begin with, as Shweta just introduced how Just for Hearts has been working, how we've been doing a lot of webinars. We do diet sessions and yoga therapy sessions. And yes, I'm a clinical psychologist who also does mindfulness and hypnotherapy. So getting to the
Tasneem, it takes a bit time to go to the next slide, so no problem.
Okay.
It will work.
So what do I need to do to go to the next slide?
Otherwise,
Okay, I got it. I got the option. Actually, the option is there,
yeah,
not on the
no issues.
keyboard.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So first and foremost, the most important thing for us to keep in mind is that although we know that anxiety is actually irrational worry, right? It's a worry which doesn't actually have rationality. Otherwise, it is just a worry. So here we need to acknowledge something that is very important, is that this pandemic is real. It's not just irrational. There is a rationality behind it actually. So when you think of there are people who already have had traits of anxiety earlier as well, right? For such people it becomes all the more difficult because you already have those traits. So there are some people who generally worry about a lot of things, right? Like once you get out of the house, you might worry whether you have locked the doors properly. Once you get out of the car, you worry whether you have actually locked it, or you've just left it open, or whether you've left the geyser on, or whether you've left the iron box on. So there are a lot of other anxiety traits that people do have in daily lives as well. So those who have that a lot more actually get affected a lot more during a pandemic, during this situation. So the best thing about it is to accept, to acknowledge that you do have those traits. That's the reason you're feeling a little bit more. So it's okay, you can relax. It's not something that you need to be too worried about, because the best thing about it is if you don't worry about it, it still is the same thing, right? It's not going to make any difference. If you're worrying about it, it's not going to it's not going to help you in any way, isn't it? So try to find ways that are actually helping you out. So for that, probably you can look at your anxiety from a third person's perspective and see whether it is the same, or it is reducing, or is your thought affecting your feelings, and is it affecting your psychology as well? Because there is a connection between your mind, body, soul. So the way we think actually affects our feelings, and the way we feel affects our behavior. For example, if you have thoughts of, I might die, I might face a challenging situation, or I'm feeling awful about something, then your feelings would be more of frustration, anxiety, and all that. And because of that, your behavior would be likewise. So whenever you're behaving in a particular way, just find out what your feelings are and what your thoughts are, and then you can go right back to your thoughts and correct them. So that is one important thing we need to think about when we are facing an anxiety situation. And the other thing is to accept and attribute. Yes, it is a real situation. You have to accept it. You have to, the more you run away from a situation, or the more you try to control something that you cannot, that's what causes a lot of panic. Like, for example, if there is something you cannot do anything about and you're still trying to change that situation, then you feel frustrated. But if you realize that, I won't be able to change it, so let me just let go of and move on in life, then it becomes much more easier. You start taking things easier. So it's very important for you to keep a track on your anxiety to see if it is affecting your behavior. As I said, you need to find out whether it is affecting your behavior. So for some people, anxiety makes them dysfunctional. If it is becoming dysfunctional, then yes, you have to keep a control over it. But if it is there, like for example, you have a snake in front of you and you fear that it might bite you, it's real. Yeah, you have to fear about it and you have to do something about it. But if you have a cockroach in front of you and you feel that it's going to eat you up, then it is not real, right? So that's where you need to understand it. You need to keep a track on it and let go of it. So at the same time, you need to keep yourself occupied with something that is very productive. Something, it's not just for you to stay distracted, but for you to do something productive about it also. You're getting good time. A lot of people did have challenges, like you wouldn't get time to do the things you always wanted to do, right? So for such people, this is the right opportunity. Do those things which you always wanted to do, because that confidence will give you some motivation, give you happiness. And yes, your mood is very important for you to stay fit, stay healthy. So the more confident you feel about things, you start with the things that are easier first, but don't take up a very difficult task, because when you take up something very difficult, you might end up just leaving it, just procrastinating, right? So start from easier things, and then definitely you will be able to achieve your goals. And yes, stay relaxed and be firm in communicating this to others as well, because at this situation, it's very important for you to communicate the necessary guidelines to others as well, right? So when you keep a track on your own anxiety, it is important for you to appreciate how others have been feeling as well. It's not good for you to mock at others and say, okay, there is nothing that's going to happen, so you are just feeling this way and stuff like that. Because when you're taking care of yourself, you also need to take care of your surroundings, because those surroundings are the ones will take care of you as well, because what goes around comes back, isn't it? So if you do something good to others, the others will also do something good to you. So appreciate that, yes, it is something that you're feeling, but at the same time, it's okay. We all are in this together. See, the best thing about this is that everybody is going through the same thing, right? So it's not like you are stuck at home, you're doing nothing, and someone else is posting things that they've been enjoying and stuff like that. That's when you feel worse. That usually happens when we are sick and we are not able to go out somewhere, we are house arrested, we feel horrible. But here it isn't like that, because everybody is in it together. Imagine we are still employed and we are still going through it in a very win-win situation. Imagine there are so many people who have been jobless, especially in this condition. A lot of people have lost their jobs as well, because I just found there was a recent research article which says the unemployment rate, especially in urban cities, has gone up from 6 to 36, which is way too high, right? So at least we are much more lucky, is what we need to acknowledge. And yes, appreciate people for that. Encourage people also to follow the necessary guidelines that have been set up by experts, by the government and all that, and keep a track on whether you are following them. Communicate it to your loved ones, to the others as well. And yes, at this point, children are something that are the sole responsibility of adults, right? So tell them not in a way that they also get anxious, but tell them in the form of stories, very interesting ones. Find out what they are interested in, and communicate it to them without you feeling anxious at the same time. Because if you're panicking and telling someone it's okay to be relaxed, then obviously the person would imitate your behavior, wouldn't actually listen to what you're saying, isn't it? So be good role models and let go of your anxiety. So when I say let go of your anxiety, as we already discussed, we need to be very responsible, we need to be confident about what we are communicating. Most importantly, we need to be safe in all these things, right? So work life balance, of course, has been a real challenge for all of us, right? Usually when we are working from home, it's very, very difficult to keep your personal life separate from your professional life, isn't it? So at this point, I would want to play a poll. Shweta, can you play that poll?
Sure, Tasneem.
Yeah.
Just
yeah. So I want you all to give your genuine answers in this. It's not like there are some right or wrong responses, right? So what you genuinely feel is what I would want to know. Are you taking all the necessary precautions as prescribed by the experts? This is something that is very important, right? So if you're not following it, also it's fine. Whatever is happening, let just put it up so that if we have not done something good, it's always better that we can continue like that. So the best thing is whatever all the bad situation is what we are going through now, and it will pass, right? It's going off. It's not that it's going to remain forever, isn't it? So so when I say work life balance, I would like to, okay, most of you have said yes, very few people have said no. So that's thank you so much for your genuine answers as well, because I do understand it's not possible for everybody to follow everything perfectly. None of us are perfect, but as much as possible we do try, right? So you need to find out your ability to balance your stress, your work, and your personal life. That is what is most important when we say work life balance. Because what happens is, although technology has made it much easier, if imagine if there was no technology at all and you had to stay home, there would have been so many losses. Nobody would have been able to work through technology also, isn't it? But we are thankful that technology is there to help us, but at the same time it poses some difficulties also, right? You have to be available round the clock. So many people have been telling me, although we are working from home, we don't really know when Sunday comes and goes and when it is Monday, because we've been working all 7 days. So it's not like you have kept that work for 8 hours a day and you're working only during that time, because we have the tendency to procrastinate also, right? The workday never ends. You tend to continue it later also, because you take a lot of breaks in between, and the time you spend is not the complete productive time also, right? You get distracted because you can do a lot more other things when you're working from home, so you don't really give that quality time. Because if you schedule your time, like if you say, okay, 9 to 5 I'm going to work and I'm just going to work, and later I will find ways to have my personal life also at bay, then it will definitely work. But that's not what is happening, right? Rather than starting from 9, why do I need to start from 9? I can end the day late also, but while ending the day late, you're cutting on your personal life, on the productivity of your personal life you're cutting. So don't cut down on that. Don't continue to have that personal life along with that professional life, just by scheduling your schedule in a proper way. So you know best how you need to schedule, because some people can sit for like 3 hours and do just the work that you could have done in half an hour, and some people can do 3 hours work actually in half an hour itself, but some people can elaborate that half an hour work into 3 hours also. So giving that productive time is what is more important. Maybe you don't need to sit 8 hours, you can finish that work in 4 hours also, but that productive time of yours, how much attention and concentration you can give and finish it off in that time productively is what is more important, because now is the time where quality is given more importance to quantity, right? Because when you go to your workplace, yes, you have to spend those many hours, you have to log in and log out for those many hours. Whether you spend quality time or not, the quantity, the number of hours is what matters. But here the best thing is the quality is what is mattering. So make use of that opportunity. Experts also agree that the compounding stress from the never ending working is damaging. So don't let that work damage your personal life, your mental health. So keep your time schedule for that, because it can hurt relationships, it can help hurt your health and overall happiness. Because if you're not healthy and happy, of course you can't do anything, right? So when you're upset, what happens? You can't move out of the bed at all. You just feel like being in one place all the time, right? That's because that's because you're feeling upset. That's because you don't have that, because mental energy gives you physiological energy, because everything starts from your psychology. When you feel pain somewhere, where do you actually feel it? You feel it in your brain, you feel it in your mind. So if your mind is not working, you wouldn't know, even if you have burns, you have pains or anything, isn't it? So that's the connection between your psychology and your physiology, which is very important. So your psychological health has to be perfect for you to function physiologically perfect, isn't it? So Shweta, can you play the next poll?
Sure.
Yeah, so while we are finding the right balance, there are a few things. So are you using your free time productively? As we just discussed, how productively you've been using your free time. That is what I would want to know. Whether and again, I need genuine answers. Like last time, I did see some of you had answered no as well. Yes, a lot of people must have been going through the guidelines very well, because if not, in India especially, it was very difficult to keep it under control, where India is such a populous city, a populous country. It's very difficult for us to have a control on the virus if we wouldn't follow the guidelines. So now just see how productively you have been using your free time. Okay, again, I've got a lot of genuine answers. 44% of you say no, you've not been using it productively, and 56 people think that yes, they have been using productively. So after the session, I would expect people to use it more productively. If you all have been inspired and motivated to go ahead and use it more productively, because this is the time, right, that you need to find out how you can do things that you've always wanted to do. And you can keep that, as I said, you don't have to work for 8 hours itself. You can finish it off in 4 hours, then you get that free time for yourself. So use it, whatever time you're giving for work, use it more productively. That is what is more important. And yeah, so to find out the right balance, so these are a few pointers that we would be discussing today. Perfectionism, digital detox, exercise and meditate, prioritize your activities, changing your lifestyle, setting up achievable goals, and yes, practicing mindfulness. So I would be doing a practical demonstration of mindfulness as well. So I'll rush through the other things because I want to give you 10-15 minutes for demonstrating mindfulness, because that of course will be a lot more relieving for you, because as I said, this pandemic has really caused a lot of stress and anxiety. So you will learn ways how to use things, how to think about things with your wise mind. You will see a wise mind perspective in a lot of things. We'll discuss how we'll do that also. So coming to perfectionism, a lot of people do have that perfectionist attitude as well, right? So it's not just about doing things perfectly, it's about gaining excellence in whatever you're doing also is very important, right? But perfectionism causes a lot of stress. A lot of people feel that they have an all or none phenomena, like they have catastrophic thinking, where you feel that either you'll do it the perfect way or you will not do it at all. So it's there is something called better than nothing, right? Something is better than nothing. But then some people can't do that something. They have to give their best, or they will not do it at all. And that catastrophic thinking causes a lot of stress. So perfectionism to some extent is good because you try to achieve perfectionism, you try to achieve excellence. Achieving excellence is good, but achieving perfectionism is way too difficult because nobody is perfect, right? We need to understand that yes, we do have flaws and it's okay to have those flaws, but I will give my best. And comparing ourselves with others and saying I will be the best, I will try to do something better than the others is definitely causing more stress than causing excellence to you, right? So that is something that is more important. And digital detox, um, of course at this situation it's very difficult for you to stay away from social media and all that, because I see people these days posting a lot more things than they would have posted in a normal day, isn't it? Because they feel this is the only platform we can communicate with people. Yes, of course it is helpful to communicate with people. Imagine if that was also not there, then people would have been a lot more stressed out. But at the same time, there is a limit for everything also. I wouldn't say you have to go on a digital detox completely, but try to reduce it as much as possible, because these days it's a reality that we do have de-addiction camps for social media also, right? Digital de-addiction camps also, people do have a lot of psychological cases these days are about how you get addicted to all to technology, and it becomes very difficult for you to stay off it. And some people have really gone crazy in extreme cases. But even in a normal in a normal situation also, it's not a good thing for us to stay connected. Yes, stay connected, but don't get too obsessed with things like, people have started fighting on Twitter. People have started taking things very seriously. So you don't need to take everything personally. Everybody puts their own experiences. It's okay to read about it, but don't ponder over it a little bit, but don't take everything personally. So what happens is sometimes phone notifications keep interrupting your off time, right? So when you're probably playing with your loved ones, you just want to keep that time off just for playing, but you keep checking on emails, you keep checking on other notifications and all that. And yes, every notification does bring about a change in your mood, and you will definitely not be able to enjoy that free time at all, right? So that's the reason I said keep your professional life and personal life separate, even while you're working from home, because that's something that's really very important. There are studies also that show that resilient people feel a greater sense of control over their lives than do reactive people. So if you start reacting for everything, then definitely it's going to affect you a lot more. So people who are very resilient, who don't get involved in it and keep things, know how to draw a line, they are seen to have more control over their lives. So exercise and meditation is something that's, again, equally important. Exercise, especially at this time, not just at this time, but every time, exercise and meditation is something that is really needed, because exercise releases our feel-good hormones, the endorphins. So that's something that is very important. We need to release our endorphins, because the stress hormone cortisol is also released while you're in stress, and endorphins can reduce the release of those stress hormones. So for that, all you need to do is exercise your muscles. Try to do as many exercises at home itself. At other times, I do suggest my clients to go out. Yes, because going out and exercising is a lot more better than walking on a treadmill or something like that. Walking in the park and going out is much more better. But then in this situation, I would suggest walk either, do other exercises, like you have these jumping jacks and other cardiovascular exercises that you have. You can do it maybe in your balcony or somewhere else, but little bit of sunlight is essential, especially early morning sunlight, 6 a.m. Whenever there is a sunrise, you go out and do some exercises, or just stand in the balcony or do something like that is very important, because serotonin levels are also released during that time. So an early morning walk after this pandemic is over is something that is highly recommended. And there are other forms of exercises too, right? So go ahead and do that. Keep a track on your diet and sleep well, because that is something that's very important. So when we say sleep well, it's not just the number of hours, but the time of sleeping is also something that's very important. These days people are sleeping very late and waking up very early, especially those who have not uh, kept a schedule for themselves. It's becoming very difficult for them. But you know that sleep is something that affects your mental health also. Although people say, I've been sleeping 7 to 8 hours a day, but still I don't feel fresh, I don't feel good about myself. It's because you're either oversleeping or
Mm.
during these hours it is released. And a lot of people sleep after that, post 6 a.m., or after that when you're sleeping, you're just sleeping because you want rest for your eyes. That's it. It's not going to do anything to your mental health. So the time of sleep is also very important, and try to do a lot of deep breathing exercises, meditation exercises. And yes, I will be doing mindfulness and guiding you through breathing exercise as well, and you will see how you can think with your wise mind also in that. Yes, the next thing is to prioritize your activities as well. Shweta, can you play the next poll?
Sure.
Yeah, so we need to have we need to see what is more important, because there might be many activities and hobbies, as I said, you couldn't pursue because of your busy schedule, right? So make use of this lockdown to just get back on your passion. That's something that's very important as of now in this situation, isn't it? So rather than doing things that are not very important. Okay. Are you able to separate your personal life from your professional life while you're working from home? So this is what we discussed till now. So let's see how many of you have actually been doing this. So I should conduct a session post this again to check whether you've been doing these things properly, because now we found out what you've been doing earlier. And post the session, we need to check whether how many of you have been motivated to do things that have been suggested during the session as well. Yes, this is something that's important. And to continue with, it will be easier to determine what needs to be trimmed off from your schedule, because at this time especially you'll realize that you were doing a lot more other things which were not really needed. And that's what will make you realize that, you know, if I just reduce these things, maybe I can be more productive in the things that I've always been interested in. If you find your time being gobbled by the panic calls and messages, find ways to diplomatically limit these interactions, because you don't have to please everybody, right? Yes, of course you need to be good to everyone, because the more you forgive and forgive people, it gives you mental peace. But at the same time, you need to find out, you don't need to continue with people who are being very negative and trying to demotivate you and everything. So prioritize your interactions and your activities also, which is something that's again really very important. So a little change in your lifestyle, as I said, you need to follow a good diet pattern, you need to sleep well, you need to exercise on time, and focus on the activities you specialize in and value that the most. So if you specialize in something else and you're doing something else, definitely you will not feel happy about what you're doing. So try to find out what is happiness for you, because it's not like you have to change your work life completely. It's just that you need to find out what is it in that itself that you're more interested in. um, so try to find that out and do that the most. So here's an example of an executive of a female who, for 20 years, she was really successful in her profession, and she kept on doing things, everything the right way for her husband. She went on getting the grocery, preparing everything on time for him, and at the same time, she was doing really well in her profession. But then there was a point when she did have a breakdown, and she couldn't continue with her work the right way. So when she came to a psychologist, he actually suggested you need a break. So you need to, you know, find out how you can change your lifestyle a little bit to suit your mental health. And she was really worried that if she stopped doing all those things, her husband wouldn't like her or wouldn't be good to her and all that. But then not doing that also, she was actually being like a candle that burns herself to light others up. So for how long will you keep burning yourself and light others up? For there is a point when you will melt and you will not be able to light others anymore, right? So before that situation, it is better to switch off the candle and, you know, understand that you need to cool down, you need some rest. So it's very important, because you can't pour from an empty cup. Only when you have love within yourself, you can pour that love to others as well, right? So taking care of yourself, finding the right balance is something that's really very important. And yeah, I didn't see the results of that poll, Shweta. Did it come?
Yeah, we had published it.
Okay,
Almost
okay.
45% said that they cannot manage their work and
Oh,
life routine.
okay, okay. So I hope after this session you will be able to manage it a little bit better, because with mindfulness, as you keep practicing mindfulness, because I would be letting you know how you can think with your wise mind and that. And when you think with your wise mind, probably you will be able to manage it a lot more better. So there is one more technique, is setting achievable goals. As I said, if you set up goals which are way too difficult for you, of course, there is a difference between your real image and your ideal image, right? Your real image would be something like, you wouldn't be walking even half a kilometer a day, but you would have an ideal image of walking for like 10 kilometers a day or 5 kilometers a day. So someone who doesn't walk at all, starting from walking 5 kilometers is something that you would just think of and wouldn't do at all, right? So setting achievable goals, like, tell yourself, okay, from 500 meters I would go to 1 kilometer, I would start doing this. That is something that would give you confidence, because if you achieve something, you get that confidence to do something even better, isn't it? So as you know, the new year resolutions never last after Feb, right? You make a lot of resolutions. Okay, this year this new year I'm going to do this, do that. But how long do you actually continue doing that? It doesn't really happen, because people usually set not very difficult goals, things that they can't really achieve, right? So try to set achievable goals for yourself. And coming to practicing mindfulness is nothing but yes, a lot of people do confuse mindfulness to meditation. They think it is meditation, but meditation is a part of mindfulness, of course, but mindfulness is much more than that. This is something that has been scientifically proven, and it is something that's been very widespread in the US now, with cult culture, with CureFit and all that. People are getting to know a lot more about mindfulness. But in India, it was, yes, still about 2-3 years ago, it was not very famous. But now, of course, those are getting to know the benefits of it. Everybody is practicing it. So mindfulness is not something that only mentally ill people have to use. It is something that everybody should use it. It should become a lifestyle for everyone. And it will definitely help you deal with everything in a much better way. So it's nothing but staying in the present moment in a particular way without judging it. You purposely stay in that moment. You don't judge it as good or bad. You just see the difference. You just see what kind of thoughts are coming. And that, of course, brings quality awareness in your life. You bring your attention to your breath sometimes, watching your thoughts without instantly evaluating them. So from a psychological perspective, I would say mindfulness does help a great deal in reducing your stress, anxiety, depression, and all that. So today, the mindfulness practice, there are a lot more mindfulness practices, but today the practice that we would be doing is something to do with your wise mind. So we think from three different kinds of mind. Basically, we think from our logical mind, we think from our emotional mind, and from our wise mind. So when you think from your wise mind, everything falls in place. So for example, when yes, I would give an example of a corporate life itself. Suppose your boss shouts at you. And when you're thinking with your emotional mind, you feel, to hell with him or her, I just don't want to work here, I just don't want to do anything, I'm just going to give back to that person, how could he or she snap at me or tell me such a thing, I'm just going to shout out. And when you're in your logical mind, you would say, okay, whatever someone has, whatever, he is my boss after all, so I shouldn't be reacting to it at all, it's okay. I mean, you do feel very hurt deep within. It affects your other things, but you just think about logic and you say, I have to pay my EMIs, I need this job very badly, so I can't say anything. I just have to suppress my desires, just have to suppress my anger. But when you're thinking with your wise mind, you bring little bit of logic into it, little bit of emotions into it, and get a wise mind perspective where you say, yes, I'm deeply hurt because boss has spoken to me like this, but maybe there is something boss has been going through. Let me wait for my boss to calm down and let me talk to him or her about it, and let me tell them, they need to know, he or she needs to know that it is not the right way to speak to your employee like that. So let me wait for the person to calm down and then talk. So that's what your wise mind says. So this you can use to suit your own examples and find out how you can use things in your wise mind. So during the session, there would be questions that you would be asking your wise mind. So make sure you ask them to your wise mind. Yes, let's start a practical demonstration of mindfulness. For this, as Shweta had already described, that we want you all to use your earphones. So get into a very comfortable zone, take a place that is very comfortable, wear your earphones and just relax wherever you are. Recline and relax. So take a deep, long breath. As you breathe out, start noticing your breath. Start noticing the rhythm of your breath. And now start noticing your body sensations. Calm down completely. Start noticing every sensation coming from your eyes, ears, nose, skin, and tongue. Now just follow the suggestions that I would be giving you. Live in the moment like you're actually experiencing it right now. Now start imagining that you're walking by the side of a clear blue lake on a beautiful day, and the weather is just so beautiful. Imagine that you yourself are a very small flake of stone, which is flat and light. Now imagine you, the stone, have been tossed out onto the lake, and you're now slowly, gently floating towards the lake's smooth and sandy bottom. Notice what you see, what you feel as you float down, perhaps in slow circles, floating towards the bottom of the lake. Now, as you reach the bottom of the lake, just settle your attention there within yourself. Just settle there. Take your time. Notice the serenity of the lake. Become aware of the calmness and silence deep within. Now, as you reach the center of yourself, just settle your attention there. Within yourself. Imagine that within you there is a spiral staircase which is winding down to your very center. Starting from the top, walk very slowly down the staircase, going deeper and deeper within yourself. Notice the sensations. Rest there by sitting on a step or turn on the lights on the way down if you wish to. But don't force yourself further than you would want to go. Just notice the silence. Stay there. As you reach the center of yourself, just settle all your attention there and just stay there for a while and see how you feel. Perhaps it's in your gut or your abdomen. That's the center of yourself. Just stay there for a while. Take your time to ponder over yourself. Now, breathing in, say to yourself, wise. You can silently say to yourself, wise, while breathing in, and while breathing out, silently say mind. Now that you know the meaning of wise mind, so focus your entire attention on the meaning of the word wise as you breathe in and the word mind as you breathe out. Continue this for a few breaths. Continue this until you feel you have settled into your wise mind. Now breathing in, silently ask your wise mind a question. Just ask your wise mind any question while breathing in. And while breathing out, listen for the answer. Remember, I said listen. Don't give yourself the answer, just listen. Don't tell yourself this is the answer. Just wait and listen for the answer. You might not get it right the first time. So continue asking on each in-breath for a while. Don't worry if you don't get an answer. Try again. Take your time until you hear my voice again. Now breathing in, ask yourself, is this action, thought, plan, whatever you just asked, was it really wise mind? And breathing out, listen for the answer. Again, just listen for the answer. Don't tell yourself this is the answer. Just listen for it. continue asking on each in-breath for a while. Don't worry if you don't get an answer. Try again. Now, I would request all of you to take a deep, long breath. As you breathe out, just rub your palms against each other. Rub them nicely. Place them over your eyes. Feel the warmth and slowly open your eyes. So I'm sure most of you would have been feeling good, and all of you must have had asked a lot of questions. Some of you got the answers, some of you didn't get the answers. So mindfulness is something that you get it right with practice, practice, and practice. So try practicing it as much as possible. And it's not something that you need to sit in one place and practice. Of course, initially you'll have to do a lot more practices like this. But later, as I said, you need to think with your wise mind. Later, just get your wise mind practice. Like, when you're talking, when you're taking important decisions, when you have to, when you're stuck in a dilemma, you can, in many such situations, you can actually use this wise mind technique. It definitely works wonders. So here, Shweta, can you play the next poll? The last one, I guess. So here's a saying by a famous person, that you will never get satisfied with work unless you're truly satisfied with yourself. That is something that is most important. So do you feel working from home creates less stress? Yes, it reduces the stress of commuting. At the same time, it keeps you available around the clock also. So there is you never know. Some people do enjoy working from home. Some people get a lot more work because they have to do extra work that they do in their personal life that they wouldn't have done otherwise. So it depends on each person. Of course, I know lot of you would answer yes, but there would be some answering no as well. So let's see what the results will be like. Okay, so as I said, 64% have replied yes. You feel less stressed out because everywhere there is the problem of commuting, right? Especially as the traffic is growing day by day in the country, it's really less stressful. And you have to get ready on time, you have to go meet people. So a lot of things create a lot of stress. When you're working from the comfort of your home, it creates less stress, but at the same time, there are other challenging activities that you will have to do while you're working from home. So that's the reason I see 36% of people saying no as well. So I hope you all enjoyed the session. Now I'm open for question answers. So Shweta will read out the questions that might have come up. I can't hear you, Shweta. Your audio.
Yeah, now you can hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So thank you so much for the wonderful session. I hope everyone has enjoyed it. So due to time constraint, we will just take one or two questions and then we will end the session. I hope you have covered many topics in current session. So the one question I would like to take is, currently we are working from home. So how we can manage our children and family while working from home?
Yes. So while you were working from the office, there were a few arrangements that you used to make. So that help is not available anymore, right? So you have to do the work of that extra help that you were getting, and at the same time, so that's the reason it is a lot more challenging now. But you can schedule your time in such a way that the working hour doesn't go on exceeding the working hours also. So what happens is when you're working, you're doing it, and at the same time you're trying to manage your kids also. At the same time you're trying to manage your husband, your wife, or whatever situation it is. You're trying to manage both the things at time. But believe me, multitasking doesn't really bring productivity in your work. That's the reason we practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the complete opposite of multitasking. In mindfulness, we do one work at a time, and we do it, give the best to it. We do it more productively. So if you're trying to do 4 5 things at the same time, you're not giving your best to any of those things. But if you schedule your time in such a way that you're doing, this time is only for this time is only for doing my work, I won't do anything else at that time, you will finish that work faster than you would normally do while you're doing other things, everything else at the same time. So I would suggest reduce multitasking and try to do one thing at a time. You will try to finish that thing quickly, and you will be able to get on to the next task immediately, and you give your best in whatever you're doing. So that's one suggestion I would give.
Definitely. We'll take up on the next question. The next question is to plan a digital detoxing.
Planning a digital detoxing. Yes, it is very important for you to plan digital detox. So what you could do is, when it is really necessary for you, yes, these days we have WhatsApp, not just for personal things or forwards and all that. We do have WhatsApp for our official groups as well, right? There is a lot of workload that comes in your WhatsApp also, so you cannot completely stay away from all that. But yes, you can limit your thing. As I said, you can schedule your work in such a way that, this time I've kept only for this time I've kept only for that. So try to find out, whenever you're getting onto any app, just ask yourself, is it really important for me to get onto it and stop doing the things I'm doing right now? Or is the thing I'm doing right now, which is that thing more important than being on the digital world right now? So try to figure out what is more important. As I said, you need to prioritize your activities also, but at the same time, yes, you need to stay connected to people also. So when you're using the digital apps, try to find out that whether it is increasing your anxiety, whether you're getting a lot of fake information, a lot of fake news about COVID-19 and other things, and you're getting more panicky about the situation, or it is reducing your anxiety because you're meeting your loved ones. So there are both ways. There are advantages and disadvantages of this digital world also, right? So try to use it in a way that is more advantageous for you. Try to see whether you're using it in the right way. That is what is more important. Yes, you cannot completely be on a detox. You cannot completely do that, especially in this situation. But see whether you're using it for your own benefit. That is something that's very important, because staying connected to people actually gives you more satisfaction also, right? So that's one thing you can do. And any other questions, Shraddha?
One more question we have. The question is, which foods contributes to happy hormones?
Happy hormones. Okay, I'm not a dietitian, but still, there are a lot of foods which the research studies say that bananas are something that they boost your immune system also. They boost your mood, basically, because there are some neurotransmitters which are released when we have bananas. There are studies that have showed that eating dark chocolate also reduces your reduces your cortisol and improves your mood. You feel a lot of depressed people when they eat dark chocolate. It's very good for health. But at the same time, don't indulge in binge eating, because this is the time when you are more likely going to get into binge eating. So some people, either they get so depressed and they don't eat at all, or some people get into binge eating, they eat too much. So both are eating disorders. Either anorexia nervosa or bulimia, both are eating disorders itself. Either you eat too much or you don't eat at all. But there are a few food items that do make you feel good. But the simple phenomena is, what makes you feel good, eat that. If you don't like something, don't force yourself. But whatever you're eating, eat it in limited quantities. Watch out on your diet, which is more important. Try to have more of fresh fruits, fresh juices, and everything which is fresh, rather than tinned or concentrated or anything else. Something that has been any artificial thing is not actually good for health. So try to get into organics, and that will definitely help you. And yes, since we are staying away from outside food, that something is very important, which is actually going to make you feel good. Of course, some people might be feeling bad that they are not able to visit their favorite restaurants and all that, but try to learn a new recipe, learn something new, because that again will keep you rejuvenated and excited about the things. Because whenever you learn something good, it gives you that feel good, that feeling where you really feel good, great about yourself. So these are some of the tips I would say about it. So any more questions we are taking, Shweta?
I think yes, we will stop here. Thank you so much, Tasneem, for the wonderful session, and I hope that our mindful session, 15 minutes of mindful session, also help people. So thank you so much, and we hope that we will take such more sessions in this pandemic condition. Thank you so much, Tasneem, for the.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure connecting with all of you all. Everybody, we had wonderful audience because I could see the poll coming up where you all genuinely replied to all these things. That was really wonderful, really helped. And yes, let's stay connected. And it's wonderful. All the best for all of you to continue working very well, especially focus on your psychological health, which is something that is very important. So, yeah.